Chasers in the house early, kicking off, ready to go. Get some mustard on your face, get the full effect. Dude, fucking fly out of thin air. Let's go, Buffalo! Let's go, Buffalo! The Bills make me want to shout! Folks, 2023 kicks off right now. Bills, Jets. Gratwick sitting in for Zach and Dan. They're still recovering from last night's heartbreaking Super Bowl loss. I got the master of the rosters, Mike Deermeyer, sitting in with me for tonight's call. Forget Brandon and Charles. You got Gratwick and Mike.
Glad to be here.
Sounds like you got some big enthusiasm here for the 2023 season, Mike.
I'm ready to go. I'm not gonna lie, that Super Bowl hangover from last night into this morning was a little rough, though.
A lot of changes to discuss from the fallout of last night's Super Bowl loss. The first one that we'll bring up, Cole Beasley retired after the Super Bowl loss. He didn't have another run in him. His rap career started to take off, and we wish Cole Beasley well. Jordan Poyer did not re-sign. He went to Denver. The Bills decided not to offer him a contract when his overall dropped to an 80 and his speed was below 85. They just couldn't see putting him back in the secondary off of name only. The big controversy from the season is the offensive line turnover. What happened after the Super Bowl is going to be a big part of our discussion here to start this game, Mike.
Yeah, I hear the offensive line wasn't real happy with the coach's comments.
We're gonna need you to. Can you turn your mic up a little bit, Mike, or speak up a little bit? You're a little quiet on your end.
Yeah, absolutely. I apologize on that.
Oh, no worries. Just got to get you in here. So the virtual McDermott threw his offensive line under the bus in the post-game press conference for the Super Bowl. And from that, the fallout, 3 out of 5 of the linemen refused to re-sign and went onto the open market and left. Quentin Spain, Morse, and Cody Ford all decided they were done being the whipping boys and did not re-sign with Buffalo. And we now have a patchwork offensive line made up of a couple Joes that we'll introduce to you here as the game goes along.
Seemed to be after that Super Bowl, that might not be a bad thing for the Bills.
Well, they're saving a whole bunch of money, so even if they get the same output, it's coming at a cheaper cost. Oh, picking up right where they left off with the heavy rush. Levi Wallace still knows his way to the backfield. Folks, don't forget, get your guesses in for who's going to score the Bills' first touchdown. Most of the offense remains intact. One of the newcomers on the Bills' offense in place of Cole Beasley is Micah Pittman. He is the 4th wide receiver on the depth chart now, and he's a speedster that should be able to contribute, but at the very least, he's a return specialist, so we're hoping to get more out of the kick return and punt return from Micah Pittman's presence. 3rd and 20. Oh, and down he goes again. Epinesa checking in for the
Boy,
first time this season.
Epinesa has been great.
The Bills actually picked up a young prospect to develop alongside Epinesa. Conor McGregor's younger cousin, Braden McGregor, is a young, raw prospect on the opposite end of Epinesa that they're looking to bring up. He's probably going to take a year or two of development before he's ready for regular playing time, but he does have a huge upside.
Yeah, you have a chance to develop that development.
Develop that development, Mike. That's exactly the type of color commentary we're looking for. Robbie Snyder's checking in with Pittman for the touchdown. I like that. Give me the new guy, he says. Got a happy Father's Day to all those fathers out there checking in, looking for another Bills victory. What better way to celebrate Father's Day than a pina colada and a win over the Jets? So if they don't show the starting lineups here for the Bills, oh, there they are. There we go. Here's our misfit offensive line. Deion Dawkins holding down the fort. Farinick somehow made his way back into the lineup, Mike.
I can't believe he got another shot at guard after last season.
Jason Towell asked, did anyone else wake up in the middle of the night and start crying? Well,
It was a rough ending of that game.
the virtual Bills front office did not wake up in the middle of the night crying because they never went to sleep. They went right back to work to get this season going. Zach is still recovering from last night's Super Bowl loss. As this season goes on, we are going to be divvying up the commentaries throughout the season. So we're going to have a couple different commentary groups filling in for the 2023 season. Zach's got about 10 games on the calendar selected out so far that he's going to be doing. And with that, we're moving to a new schedule here with the games. We're going to be doing games on Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, and Sundays. 4 days a week. So we're going to be taking off Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. So we can bring you some more action, so we can get a little more promotions in between the games, especially during the playoffs. And we can put a little bit more into growing the league rather than just keeping up with the daily part of getting the games in every single night. Dawson Knox getting his first catch of the season. Not enough for the first down, though.
Yeah, early trouble on that first drive with your patchwork offensive line here with the Bills. Early hold.
Josh Arnold, the Bills made one trade in the offseason. We traded with the Buccaneers for a 4th and 5th round pick for the center that is now starting for the Buffalo Bills. Here comes the punt return. We'll get the defensive starters up on the screen here once we move over. I want to touch on a comment I saw during last night's Super Bowl that the guys didn't point out, and I totally deserves to be mentioned. Somebody said, I really hope I see a Bubba Bolden Bills jersey running around at the Ralph this season when they're at a Bills game. And that would be freaking awesome to have a Bubba Bolden jersey as a tribute to the NFQL.
Yes, during the regular season.
Oh, so the trades can only happen with other human-owned teams, and right now the goal is to bring in other NFL podcasts to run the teams. One of the other podcasts that have been trying out a team is the Eagles. We're hoping to have one of those guys in the booth with us tomorrow when we play the Eagles. But we're trying to keep the teams all intact as much as possible until they're taken over by their fan base and they make smart decisions with their teams. Paul Burton asks, who won the Kyle Williams mini helmet? I believe Dan raffled it off and put the winner on Twitter shortly after the game because there was a hard time with 3 guys in the booth yesterday for Dan to get a word in edgewise on the Kyle Williams helmet. But last I checked, he had put it on his Twitter. I'm going to text him right now, see if we can get an answer before this game's over.
Another incompletion situation, this is going to be a key matchup for the Bills corners to take advantage of the weak Jets wide receivers and hold them in check here.
Darnold's just under all sorts of pressure. Here's the Bills starters heading into the 2023 season. So we got Tolles, which is the Bills' first-round pick that we haven't even had a chance to discuss yet, that's moved into strong safety for Jordan Poyer. With the 31st overall pick, the Bills selected Jordan Tolles, strong safety, to slide right in and start in Jordan Poyer's absence. Second strong safety off the board in the first round.
Trouble with going to the Super Bowl. You don't always get the top player at that position.
Those Buccaneers are turning into quite a rival from across the conference.
They're a well-run team.
They just had the same fate that the Bills did. They ran into Dylan McCaffrey.
It is a true story. They did not score a touchdown against the Bears in the NFC Championship last year and lost 10-6.
Word from the CEO of Code Sox is the man who had asked who won the Bills mini helmet is the man who won the Bills mini helmet. Paul Burden, I'm getting word from Dan Gambino that he didn't get a chance to announce it on air last night, but you won the Kyle Williams mini helmet, and get in touch with Code Sox for that.
Congrats, Paul.
A couple other notes from the offseason here. Dawson Knox re-signed 4 years, $27 million. Josh Allen is currently making $35 million this season, so we're going to need more than 18 touchdowns out of him. And the Bills' big free agent signing in the offseason was middle linebacker, 24-year-old middle linebacker Bobby Bryce, who has superstar potential, who was also stolen from the Buccaneers, which may have led to some of the payback on the ransom pick.
It's a true story how that occurred.
Moss got blown up.
After a good game, though.
What do you think about Jamal Adams wanting his way out of New York already?
That's incredible. Didn't he someone made a comment about the coach not caring about the players. It's amazing.
Well, there's a big surprise. That dude's like one of the worst coaches I've ever seen get 2 shots in the NFL. Matthew Manzella asks, new guards? New guards. We got a whole new offensive line. The 3/5 of the offensive line walked out on the team after the Super Bowl loss due to the coach's comments in the postgame presser and refused to re-sign. So the Bills currently have a new offensive line that, let's get this get the starters up on screen for you here after this play. Oh, Pittman with his first NFL catch. That's our second round pick.
Good play along the sideline there.
Is it Brew McCoy checking in?
Looked like Davis.
All right, here's the offensive starters as it stands right now. We've got Dawkins, that guy, Jensen, Jackson, and Fries along the offensive line. So Furonek is still on the team, but he's been demoted to a backup. And the backs and quarterback all still the same. Number 16 is still our man, Anthony Schwartz, who I think was the one that made the catch along the sidelines. The second round pick is number 18, Pittman. First name eludes me at the moment. Micah Pittman. Another good catch along the sideline. Well, Matthew, before you say good, just know that our offensive line is drastically lower rated than it was last season. Is that Pittman again? Oh, Pittman making some nice catches along the sideline. Not enough for a first down, though. Somebody's got to teach him how to run his route to the first down marker. Stephen Noble says, you said we picked up a middle linebacker in free agency. Is Tremaine still with us? Tremaine is absolutely still with us, but behind him there was zero depth. So we took the opportunity to sign a 24-year-old free agent superstar potential linebacker to give this team some more flexibility to be able to run both 4-3 and 3-4 plays in the playbook, and have another linebacker in the arsenal just in case anybody gets hurt. Because right now we only had our 3 starting linebackers and there was zero depth underneath them. We got a field goal. My partner in the truck is telling me we should be celebrating the field goal. Michael Arnold says no long field goals this season. Couldn't agree more. Mike, what have you seen so far here through the first quarter?
Bills DBs have been good. The Bills have kind of moved the ball, but again, it's settled for a field goal.
I don't know what I need to do to kick this offense into gear. They brought back Dabble back, but they made him change a lot of the plays in the playbook, and it's so far another slow start.
Yeah, questionable decision bringing Dable back.
Another corner blitz. T. Mullen was another one of our free agent signings this offseason. Brought in another depth corner, young kid that's got a lot of potential in him, but he's just a good, solid role player. Adam Watson asks, are you all signing them or is it simulated? We're running the front office for the team, Adam, but when it comes to re-signs, each season around week 10 we roll out the re-sign report, which is a Google Doc with all the upcoming free agents, and we give you guys the opportunity to decide on some of the fringe ones that aren't a clear-cut decision. Uh-oh! First touchdown comes on defense! Is that Zacoby McClain? There it is. Oh, too busy calling the game. Forgot to hit the shout song. Eddie O causes the sack. Zacoby McClain scoops it up, and we've got our first touchdown. 10-0 Bills. The $25 restaurant gift card is going to die hard because nobody had McClain. Yeah, because it didn't die. I don't have time to explain to you the Die Hard reference. We're calling the game here. Bills are up 10-0. Jason Towell says people should have been fired. Dabble should have been fired. It was on there. The offensive line definitely took the attention away from Dabble, and he slipped out before he could have got fired last night. Mike, this defense might compete to score more touchdowns than the offense this season.
That's the way it started so far. It's going to need to do, though, with that offensive line. To the yards so far in the game, 66 to -17.
That'll contribute some yards to the positive side for him.
Bell's starting to age, but he can still run the ball.
Mike, I got a question for you.
Play by Edmonds. What do you got?
Did you see this this New York Jets beat reporter that gave his breakdown on where he thinks the Bills are going to finish this season?
Was that the guy that said the Bills would finish last in the division?
Yeah. The whole article is talking about how great the Bills are, how much on the uptick they are, how all these things are looking good for this young team. My prediction, last in the division.
It's a bold prediction.
I mean, are you trying to even be taken credible?
Yeah, sometimes those guys just want to have controversy, so they get the Bills fired up and get more clicks on their webpage, their article.
I don't know. Anybody else read this? What are your thoughts on what would you say the percentages are in the chat of the Bills coming in last in the AFC East in 2020? Like, I can't even think of a storm of circumstances that could make them finish worse than the Jets are going to finish, than the Dolphins are going to finish. And I think the Patriots could go 6-10 too.
Yeah, they might have to have 20 guys get injured for the year by week 4 for that to be a possibility. They're too deep.
At least in comparison to the other teams in their division, that's for sure.
Completely, yeah. They returned pretty much everybody back. The Patriots lost Brady. The Jets didn't do anything special. And the Dolphins are still trying to rebuild. They're not ready yet.
Jets got a little drive going here as they cross midfield.
Oh, yeah, Darnold's completed 4 passes in a row.
We've got our highest percentage on the board here by Michael Pinzinziano at 2%. I think that's a generous 2%.
Is that a scientific 2%?
Levi Wallace all over the field here this first half.
Jets. So Bell got hurt a couple plays ago.
Jets determined to get this run game going, one way or the other. We are still looking for our Bills' first touchdown of the game. Zacoby McClain scored first. Nobody had him. So the board is wide open. If you're just tuning in and joining us, get your guesses in for who's going to score the first touchdown of the game. Next break and play here, I'm going to put up the full draft class from this season. Then we'll get to the schedule. All right, here we go. Here is the 2023 draft class. We've got the first pick was our strong safety. The second pick was the developmental defensive end. The third pick was Mika Pittman, wide receiver. The fourth pick was a middle linebacker prospect. And then the rest of the picks were offensive lineman prospects, none of which are starting as of right now. Another 60-yard field goal coming.
No good.
No good. Shocker. I'd like to see the attempt rate for 60-yard field goals in the NFQL. Here is the 2023 season. Earl Gwynn's just checking in and asked about Poyer. Poyer, the Bills chose not to re-sign in the 2022 season. His overall rating had dropped to an 80, and his speed was down to an 85, which wasn't enough to even keep up with tight ends. So they let him walk, and he signed with Denver. Our first-round draft pick is Jordan Tolles, who is a 76 overall strong safety with 92 speed, stepping in that spot.
Good play to Knox down the field there.
Oh, it's always a good play when you go to Knox. The engine that drives this pass game. Mike, so what's your thoughts on the red zone struggles with this team? Let's lab it out here and figure out what it's going to take to get this team going.